Welcome to a Calvinian architecture. Today I'm reading from 4th octave, 8th chapter, fillide. A Calvinian architecture is divided into 7 octaves and each octave into 8 chapters and each chapter into 3 verses. The first verse is a translation of a Calvino Invisible City. And verse 2 and 3 stories I wrote through the presentation of a project called a Calvinian architecture way back in the year 2000 in Northcote. Each story was written the day of the performance and was not edited. And this is what I'm reading to you today. Verse 2 is of a journey and verse 3 is of a house I wanted to live in or buy somewhere in the world. Verse 2. It's Sunday morning, January 7, 1996. It's about 11 a.m. I'm walking down one of the busiest thoroughfares in the world. A street that's been immortalised in song, in countless books, in films. I'm walking right down its centre, right down in the middle of it, and I'm the only person here. It's been snowing in New York for a week, actually since November 19 last year, but that's another snow story. Anyway, the snow on Broadway this morning is 4 feet high. Nothing can get through, there's no one here. I know I keep saying it, but on a Sunday, you can't even cross the road normally. Now on the corner of Prince and Broadway, there's just snow, piles of it. Frozen, yellow, muddy, grey. It's minus 20 degrees centigrade. The cold penetrates everything. Each time I face north and I feel the icy winds come down Broadway, all the way from Canada, my face sets into a grimace. Nothing is open. There's no one to buy anything anyhow. A snowplow struggles around the corner and is gone, defeated by the sheer volume of it. That other snow story? Well, it's hard to tell. I don't even know what happened, or if it ever happened, or if it follows any kind of explanation. I could just say it snowed, or one morning I saw snow falling. Or as I came out of an apartment one morning in New York, I saw that it was snowing. Or on November 19th, 1995, it snowed in New York. Or even the most extraordinary thing that ever happened to me was walking outside one late autumn morning in New York to see that it was snowing. But none of it comes close. Why? Because perhaps in my memory it's got that sense of never having happened, that unfixable quality, maybe, that the snowflake's transience gives everything. Everything that happens inside the snowfall. That same transience, that same dreamlike feel, or else it was me, the city, Sam, the morning, the glow coming from the ground floor windows piercing the dullness that pressed down from the leaden, snow-filled sky. Or the astonished look on the face of the first passerby that saw us walking to the cafe across the street and the light between us. 12th and 8th Avenue, I think it was, but maybe none of those. Perhaps I'm the only one that remembers an otherwise anonymous morning. But I remember it, I do. The snowflakes fell so very slowly, so terribly slowly that they seemed to wander dreamily within their very own family of flakes, whispering messages to each other, exchanging bits of information about the conditions down here. Not so bad, after all, not so bad, after all. And when Sam and I walked past, they seemed for a second to congregate about us in an animated way. There must have been a sudden breeze coming off the uptown bus, gliding by. Whatever it was also comforting. The most comforting thing that happened to me that winter, those snowflakes congregating around us, and then they were gone. Vanished. Within a half hour, this snow around me now will take much longer to dissolve into grey sludge, into creamy, viscid water, journeying all the way through the city's underbelly into the Hudson or the East River. So since November 19th, it snowed a lot. Record falls, in fact. And what began as a blessing, as a never to be forgotten moment of magic, maybe only 2 or 3 moments like that in my life, probably none, has through overabundance turned as I looked around me from dream into this snowy nightmare, the snowy nightmare of my life. Though I must say I'm recognizing things differently, very differently, and noticing things I never saw before, ledges, cornices, trees, even signs, buildings, clouds, skies. There's even another person looking exactly like me. Same umbrella, same coat, same walk. Verse 3. That winter I painted the whole of the little ground floor apartment white, floors and walls, in the same block on 6th Street that Adam lived in with all his Romanian friends. It was only 2 rooms and looked onto the courtyard at the back, onto that huge ginkgo tree whose leaves brushed against Adam's kitchen window, right up onto the 5th floor. I didn't get much for it, but it kept me going, kept me busy, kept me from thinking about things. And then Adam offered to sell it to me for very little. It would have been great to have somewhere to stay each time I came back. And who knows, I might never have gone back home. I might have just stayed there forever, watching snow falling through the windows of that now pure white room. Just thinking about each snowflake, how it floated untraceably down to the ground. But I couldn't decide what to do. Couldn't decide whether to run away or keep still.